There was a girl who wanted to be loved, not just by her friends, not just by her classmates, but by everyone. She wanted to be like her favorite online celeb, Riley, adored by millions. But no matter how hard she tried, no matter how much she posted, she just couldn't seem to get anyone to like her posts. The girl was ready to give up on online fame when she noticed a new app from Riley. It was a camera app with a glowing filter that promised, "You will be loved by millions." She decided to try it, and it worked. With each new selfie she posted, she got more and more likes. Her dreams of stardom were going to come true. There was only one thing. She noticed that in every selfie she took, there was a little speck in the background. And with each new selfie, the speck got closer and closer. The girl continued to blow up online. 100,000 likes, 200,000 likes, 300,000 likes. But with each new post, it became more and more clear that the speck wasn't a speck. It looked like an oily black creature with no eyes and a huge smiling mouth. It must be a glitch in the app, the girl thought. 400,000 likes, 500,000 likes, 600,000 likes. She was now the most popular girl in school. Everyone treated her less like a classmate and more like the superstar that she was becoming. But the creature was getting closer and closer. It was clearly moving towards her with each new selfie, slime dripping from its sick smile. The girl tried to research the Riley app to see if it was a virus. Had this happened to anyone else? But the internet had no information, as if it never existed. The Riley app was starting to creep her out, but the thrill of all her new fans was just too exciting for her to delete it. 700,000 likes, 800,000 likes. The creature in the photo was almost touching her now, reaching out its long, mud-smeared claws. She tried to pass it off as a joke and posted the newest picture with the caption, "Hanging out with my new BF, LOL." But all her fans just commented back, "What BF?" Or, "I don't see anyone else," or, "Who is she talking about?" No one else saw the creature. The girl was terrified. It was clearly there. Why couldn't anybody else see it? She took another picture to be sure. It was still there, and she could actually smell the sickly odor of the creature and feel its claws on her shoulder. And when she looked down, she saw her sweater was covered in black slime where the creature grabbed it. She screamed and threw her phone. She picked up her phone, realizing she had to erase the app. But right as she was about to press delete, she noticed that her last picture had received 998,000 likes. She was so close to 1,000,000 likes. 1,000,000 fans, 1,000,000 people looking up to her, thinking that she was as cool as Riley. So she summoned up her courage, put on her coolest smile, and decided to take one last picture before deleting the weird app. 1, 2, 3. The girl's old classmates were still following her account. Each new photo she puts up gets millions of likes. In fact, she's now even more popular than Riley herself. They're all happy for the girl, but one thing gnaws at them. They haven't seen her at school in a long, long time. In fact, they're pretty sure no one has seen her at all in a long, long time. And sometimes, when they look at one of her new pictures, for a second, it doesn't look like her. It looks like an oily black creature with no eyes and a wide smile. Casey was easily the worst player on the Lincoln High soccer team. He tried really hard, but he lacked the speed to play with the other kids. Not only did he not get to play, Casey needed to play like one. Everyone knew that their mascot, Gil, brought the team good luck, and Casey knew that he needed Gil's good luck to rub off on him if he wanted to have any chance of playing in the next game. So, 2 nights before the game, he snuck into the school, creeping down the hallways ever so quietly. Once he made it to Gil's room, he gave the dog a treat and pet him until they both fell asleep. The next morning, Casey perks up when the school lights come on. He feels great. During practice, Casey did his drills much faster than usual, and the coach noticed. The coach could not believe his eyes. Casey was surprised how fast he did the exact same thing as the previous night. He fed Gil another treat and quickly fell asleep next to him. The next day was game day, and Casey was even faster. In the middle of the warm-up, he chased and caught a squirrel. The rest of the team thought it was pretty weird. They were even more surprised when Casey drank out of Gil's bowl during their water break. When it was time for the big game, all the players gave Gil a pat for good luck. Casey did the same, and he could have sworn he saw the dog wink at him in response. As usual, Casey was on the bench, but this time, when they were losing by 2 points, the coach put him in the game. Casey was lightning quick and scored his first goal ever. As a matter of fact, he scored 5 goals and the Greyhounds won the game. When the team celebrated, Casey was so excited he couldn't speak. He just barked. The team thought it was weird, but figured he was just super excited. That night, Casey sneaks back into Gil's room, not even noticing he's grown a tail. He lies down next to Gil as Casey falls into a deep, hypnotized sleep. He could swear he hears Gil say, "Good night, Casey." When he awakens, he is alone in the room. He goes to a water bowl that says Casey on it. He sees his reflection. He has become a dog. A boy he had never seen before comes in the room. Casey tried to call out for help, but all that comes out are barks. The boy just smiles and gives the same wink to Casey as Gil did at the game. That's a good boy, Casey. What Casey didn't know is that just as much as he wanted to be fast, Gil wanted to be a kid playing soccer. They both got their wishes. Emma always felt plain. She thinks her life would completely change if she looked different, maybe like someone in a movie. Her parents always insist that she's beautiful just the way she is, and that there is beauty in being her own unique person. She doesn't have to look like anyone else to be special. But Emma doesn't feel special. She longs for the attention of the most popular, beautiful girls. That's not to say that Emma is lonely. In fact, she has a great group of friends that she loves spending time with. They have inside jokes and secret handshakes. They always make her forget about her worries and just enjoy the moment. But it's when she's by herself that she begins to wonder if she's good enough again. Then, one day, Emma finds a mirror that somebody threw out. It looks like a mirror a princess would have. Emma decides to clean it up and put it in her room. She gazes at it and begins to think about all the things she'd change about herself, starting with her eyes. Wouldn't it be amazing to have brightly colored eyes? As soon as the thought enters her head, her eyes change from brown to blue. She can't believe it. She assumes it's just a trick of the mirror. But then, the next day, when she sees her reflection again, her eyes are still blue. Her parents are astonished. As Emma leaves for school, they discuss how this could have happened. Her friends can't believe it. Other kids in the school begin to notice her bright blue eyes. She's actually getting attention for her appearance, and it's all thanks to the magical mirror. That night, Emma takes out the mirror. If the mirror can change her eye color, what else can it do? She wonders if it can change her hair color. She always dreamt of being a redhead. It happened. She couldn't believe all it took was thinking about it. She thought about having purple hair, maybe black. What about her nose she never liked? Can she change that? Yes. The size of her ears? Yes. The shape of her face? Emma finally looks like one of the glamorous models she sees in the movies. She looks like a completely different person. She thinks now she'll have the life she always dreamed. Now, she'll be happy. The next morning, Emma's parents don't even recognize her. They don't understand who the stranger is in their home. Where's Emma? Emma tries to convince them that it's her. She shows them pictures of her old self and explains that it's still her, but they don't see it. They think it's some kind of terrible joke and ask her to leave and bring back their daughter. Upset, Emma goes to school. Surely her friends will know that it's her, but they don't recognize her either. She tries to prove who she is by doing their secret handshake, but her friends want nothing to do with this strange girl. She tries to explain that she's still the same person. She just looks different, but they tell her that friendships aren't based on looks alone, and they keep their distance from her, still not believing it's Emma. Desperate to get her old life back, she takes out the mirror and tries to put herself back to the way she was. She thinks about her brown eyes. Nothing happens. She thinks about her original hair color, her nose, her ears, and the shape of her face, but nothing changes. She's stuck, looking like this completely new person. Frustrated, Emma throws the mirror to the floor. She now knows why someone had thrown it out. Emma decides that now all she can do is try to be herself as best as she can. What she doesn't notice is that inside the mirror is a terrified Emma, the old Emma, desperate to get out. She appears to be screaming, but nobody can hear. Polly and Joanne were best friends. Every day they would play at Joanne's house. Joanne was such a good friend to Polly. She would always make sure her mom put out a snack for Polly, and her dad would always make sure to include Polly in every game they played. But things changed when school began. Joanne started making new friends, so Polly was left to play alone. Joanne spent hours in the park every day playing games and sharing jokes that Polly was not a part of. After the park, when they went back to Joanne's house, Polly thought maybe now they could play together, but Joanne seemed tired. Ignoring Polly, she went straight to her room to do her homework. Then, one day, Joanne invites one of her new friends over. Polly is excited. Maybe now they can all play together. But the new friend doesn't acknowledge Polly at all. Even worse, Joanne ignores Polly too. She never even introduces Polly to her new friend. Polly doesn't understand why Joanne is being so mean. Joanne's mom comes in and sets up for snack time, but she only brings enough snacks for two. Joanne is quick to offer Polly's seat to her new friend. Why is everyone ignoring her? After snack time, Joanne's dad sets up their favorite board game. Maybe now she'll finally be included. But once again, there is no place for Polly. She waves her hands and shouts, but still, no one pays any attention to her. When the new friend leaves, Joanne's parents ask Joanne if she's still friends with Polly. Polly waits eagerly for an answer, but what she hears turns her whole world upside down. No, Mom, I'm too old for an imaginary friend. Imaginary friend? Polly can't believe her ears. What imaginary friend? Why would Joanne say that? Polly isn't imaginary, is she? Polly looks around the room. How can she be imaginary if she's in all these pictures? But as she looks at the pictures, she sees herself fade away. They're just pictures of Joanne. She tries to remember a single memory where Joanne wasn't there. She can't. Polly tries to convince herself that she's real, but deep down, she knows the truth. She is Joanne's imaginary friend, and Joanne doesn't want to play anymore. It's field trip day at the Ancient History Museum. The kids walk through displays of Egyptian artifacts that are thousands of years old, listening to a tour guide tell them crazy facts about the ancient Egyptians, like how they believed that half the soul of a dead pharaoh would stay in the pharaoh's mummy forever. Sometimes, when a particularly powerful pharaoh would die, his guards would be killed too, to protect the pharaoh's tomb for all of eternity. There were all sorts of curses that would fall on anyone stupid enough to annoy or disturb the tomb. The class all listen with rapt attention, all except for one boy in the back, who cracks jokes, yawns in boredom, and worst of all, touches the ancient artifacts. The boy nearly tips over a priceless statue, causing the tour guide's eyes to flare with anger. But then, instead of yelling at the boy or kicking him out, the guide gets a wicked smile and leads the class to the entrance of a dark room with a sign that says, "Closed, authorized personnel only." While looking straight at the boy, he warns the group not to go into that room no matter what, and moves the tour to the next area, but now missing one member. Once he's sure the coast is clear, the boy ducks under the sign and sneaks into the dark, musty room, only to discover that it's filled with more dumb old Egyptian statues. The disappointed boy is about to leave when he hears a skittering across the floor. He follows the sound through a labyrinth of statues until he hears the skittering coming from just ahead. He takes a deep breath and turns the corner to see just another stone statue. An ancient guard with a spear in his hand and a cat at his feet. Boring! The boy is about to turn away, but then he notices something. Unlike the statue in the other room, the ancient guard hasn't crumbled at all. In fact, the guard's angry face is in such perfect condition and so lifelike that it looks almost like a real person staring down at the boy in rage. The boy goes in for a closer look, but when he does, he hears a hiss and feels burning pain in his leg. The boy falls to the ground in pain. He's eye level with the stone cat, scratching him. The boy screams and looks up in horror as the giant guard's eyes open and its giant stone arm rises, raising the spear. The boy dodges out of the way, just missing the spear. He jumps up and runs for the exit. But now, two giant statues of Egyptian guards block his way. He turns to look for another way out, and that's when he sees them. Statues of warriors and priests, kings and queens, even ancient gods are all now staring at him, their eyes blazing red. They start moving towards him, closer and closer and closer. The boy slowly backs away, his eyes never leaving the lurching statues. Just as they're almost to him, he trips backward through an open door, landing on rags. A janitor's closet, he thinks, and shuts the heavy door. He takes a deep breath, and that's when he notices the smell. It smells like burnt rubber and decomposing trash. He tries to look around, but he realizes that the place is too small to move. With mounting horror, he grabs his phone and turns on the flashlight. That's when he realizes what those rags are. A mummy. He's in a sarcophagus. The boy pushes at the door, but it won't budge. He uses the phone's light to look for some sort of latch, and that is when a raggedy, bony hand reaches out from behind him and crushes the phone into dust. The boy is plunged into darkness. He tries to scream, hoping the kids on the field trip will hear him, but the raggedy hand covers his mouth. The boy is powerless. He can't scream. He can only listen in dread as he hears faintly in the distance a tour guide telling the rest of the class more about mummy's curses and how anyone caught disturbing or bothering a mummy's tomb was cursed to be trapped with them forever.